Frozen encounters. The warning lights flashed crimson across Outpost Helios 7's observation deck as Aya stared into the infinite darkness beyond the reinforced glass. Another temperature drop. She muttered to herself, pulling her thermal wrap tighter around her shoulders. Just what I needed. Exiled from her homeworld of Navarra for challenging the Supreme Council's genocide plans, Aya had found reluctant sanctuary on this remote research station, orbiting a frozen moon. At least no one hunts me here, she thought, her purple skin shimmering under the emergency lights. Even if I slowly freeze instead, Dr. John Chen entered the deck, his footsteps echoing against metal floors. Still admiring the view? He asked, his voice gentle yet distant. The ion storm is beautiful, but you'll catch your death standing so close to the exterior walls. Aya turned, her luminescent eyes narrowing. Your human concern is unnecessary, she replied. My people survived the void wars of Sector 9. I can handle a little chill. Chen smiled, nodding respectfully. Of course, he said. I've studied the Navaran resistance extensively. Your people's resilience is legendary. He paused, his scientific curiosity visibly battling with professional boundaries, though I've never understood how your species maintains thermal homeostasis with such thin dermal layers. By not discussing our physiology with strangers, Aya responded, though her tone carried more defensiveness than genuine anger. Fair enough. Chen placed a data tablet on the console between them. The station's thermal regulators are struggling with the storm. We'll be operating at reduced capacity for the next 72 hours, he explained. Commander Reyna asked me to inform all non-essential personnel. Aya's shoulders tensed. Define reduced capacity. Living quarters will maintain habitable temperatures, but common areas like this will drop below comfort levels for most species. Chen hesitated, particularly for Navarans. I see. Aya kept her voice neutral, hiding her rising panic. Thank you for the information, Doctor. Chen lingered, studying her with those observant eyes that seemed to see more than Aya wished to reveal. There are some thermal supplements in the medical bay, he offered. Not standard issue, but I've been experimenting with compounds that might help species with non-terrestrial temperature requirements. Your experiments are not my concern, Aya replied. Turning back to the viewport, Chen nodded, respecting her space. Of course, he said softly, but my door is open if you change your mind. He walked away, leaving Aya alone with the stars and her stubborn pride later that night. Aya shivered violently in her quarters as the temperature continued to plummet. System status, she demanded. The station AI responded promptly. Current ambient temperature 12 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees below Navaran biological comfort threshold. Aya cursed in her native tongue, watching her breath form small clouds in the air before her. Projected minimum temperature? She asked 8 degrees Celsius at station midnight. The AI replied, Would you like me to contact medical services? No, Aya snapped, wrapping herself in every available fabric. Absolutely not. As darkness fell and the cold deepened, Aya found herself pacing her small quarters, fighting against the dangerous lethargy creeping into her limbs. This is ridiculous, she muttered. I survived assassination attempts and political purges. I will not be defeated by faulty temperature regulators. Yet even her fierce determination couldn't overcome basic biology, and when the shivers turned to concerning muscle spasms, Aya realized she faced a choice between pride and survival. With shaking hands, she pressed the communication panel. Dr. Chen, she said through chattering teeth, I believe I require those thermal supplements you mentioned. Thawing barriers. Dr. Chen arrived at Aya's quarters within minutes, medical kit in hand. His eyes widened at the sight of her huddled form, her normally vibrant purple skin now dulled to a concerning lavender shade. Your condition is worse than I anticipated, he said, immediately scanning her with a medical tricorder. Your core temperature has dropped dangerously. These supplements alone won't be sufficient. Aya attempted to straighten her posture, dignity fighting against physical distress. I simply require the medication you offered, she insisted. I've managed worse circumstances. Chen shook his head, already unpacking thermal blankets from his kit. Navaran physiology isn't designed for these temperatures. Your species evolved on a planet with 3 suns, he explained, his voice carrying professional concern rather than pity. The storm is interfering with your quarter's heating systems more severely than other sections. How fortunate, Aya muttered bitterly. Chen hesitated before continuing. The station's backup protocols are redirecting remaining heat to essential systems. He said, my research lab maintains consistent temperatures for sensitive experiments. It would be significantly warmer than here. Aya's luminescent eyes narrowed. You're inviting me to your laboratory? To be studied while I recover? No, Chen responded firmly. I'm offering you a warm place to rest. Nothing more. His expression softened. As a doctor, I cannot in good conscience leave you in these conditions. A particularly violent shiver ran through Aya's body, making the decision for her. Very well, she conceded. But this is a temporary arrangement. The walk to Chen's quarters was mercifully short, though Aya's pride suffered at needing his support to remain steady. His living space surprised her. Not the sterile environment she expected, but a warm room filled with books, plants, and cultural artifacts from dozens of worlds. You collect relics? She asked, noticing a small sculpture that unmistakably came from a Navaran temple. I collect stories, Chen replied, adjusting environmental controls. Each item represents a culture, a history. They remind me why scientific understanding must serve compassion, not curiosity alone. Aya's gaze lingered on the Navaran piece. Where did you acquire this? From a refugee I treated years ago, Chen answered. She said it represented Navarra's third moon, guide of travelers. Kirasol, Aya whispered. My grandmother was its keeper before the purge. Chen's expression shifted to one of realization. You're Aya Kiravan, he said quietly. The voice of the resistance. Aya tensed, ready to flee despite her weakened state. Are you going to report me to the galactic authorities? There's still a substantial bounty. I recognized you the moment you arrived on the station, Chen admitted. Your speeches inspired millions to stand against tyranny. He gestured to the small living space. You've been here 3 months. If I intended to report you, I would have done so already. The revelation left Aya momentarily speechless. Finally, she asked, why didn't you? The same reason I became a doctor. Chen responded simply, to heal, not harm. An uncomfortable silence settled between them as Aya processed this new understanding of her situation. The room gradually warmed and she felt strength returning to her limbs. The thermal bed is through there, Chen indicated a doorway. It's designed for recovery from hypothermia. I'll sleep here. He gestured to a small couch. Aya shook her head. I've taken enough of your hospitality, she insisted. I cannot displace you from your own sleeping quarters. It's not displacing if it's offered freely, Chen countered. Besides, your recovery is more important than my temporary comfort. Their eyes met, a silent understanding passing between them. Aya recognized the genuineness in his gaze. Not pity, but respect. The storm is projected to last another 48 hours, Chen continued. You're welcome to stay until it passes. Aya nodded slowly. Thank you, she said, the words feeling foreign on her tongue after so long in exile. But I must ask, why help someone who has made it clear she wants nothing to do with you? With any human? Chen considered this question carefully before answering. Because sometimes what we want isn't what we need, he said. And sometimes the barriers we build to protect ourselves become the walls of our prison. Aya didn't respond, but as she settled into the warmth of his quarters, something beyond her physical temperature began to thaw. Warmth in darkness morning arrived with the artificial dawn, programmed into Helios 7's environmental systems. Aya woke slowly, momentarily disoriented by unfamiliar surroundings. The thermal bed had worked remarkably well. Her purple complexion had returned to its vibrant hue, and the dangerous chill had left her limbs. How are you feeling? Chen asked, entering with 2 steaming mugs. I made Terran tea and Navaran sun tea. I wasn't sure which you'd prefer. Aya's eyes widened in surprise. You have sun tea? That's almost impossible to find outside Navaran space. I grow a few plants in the botanical lab, Chen explained. I hope I prepared it correctly. The crystallization process is quite complex. Aya accepted the golden liquid, inhaling its familiar aroma. It's perfect, she admitted, taking a careful sip. How did you learn this technique? From texts I salvaged during the liberation of Kartha Station, Chen said, sitting across from her. Many Navaran cultural archives were destroyed during the regime's purge, but some survived. A comfortable silence settled between them as they enjoyed their beverages. Through the viewport, the ion storm still raged, casting ethereal lights across the station's exterior. Station update, the AI announced suddenly. Primary power fluctuations detected. Initiating backup protocols. The lights dimmed momentarily before stabilizing at a lower intensity. The storm is intensifying, Chen noted, checking his data pad. Power conservation measures will remain in effect until further notice. Aya set down her mug. I should return to my quarters. They're still below safe temperature thresholds for your physiology, Chen countered. Unless you find my company particularly objectionable. A faint smile tugged at Aya's lips. It's tolerable, she conceded. As the day progressed, the storm's interference with station systems worsened. Communications went offline, followed by most non-essential power functions. With little else to do, they talked. Why did you leave Earth? Aya asked as they shared a simple meal of synthesized protein and fresh greens from Chen's personal garden. Chen considered. The question I wanted to understand more than one world could teach me, he replied. Earth is beautiful but limiting. The true frontier of medical science exists where different species meet. And find yourself stationed on this forgotten outpost? Aya questioned. Helio 7 isn't glamorous, Chen admitted, but I've treated 17 different species here. My research on cross-species viral immunity couldn't happen anywhere else. Aya studied him carefully. You chose exile, just as I had exile thrust upon me. Different paths, similar destination, Chen agreed. Though I can return home whenever I wish? Does that make it easier? Aya asked, genuine curiosity in her voice. Sometimes, Chen answered thoughtfully, though having the choice doesn't always mean taking it. The station lights flickered again, then failed entirely, plunging them into darkness broken only by emergency backup lighting. Perfect, Aya muttered. Now we freeze in the dark. Not necessarily, Chen replied, activating a series of bioluminescent panels hidden throughout his quarters. Benefits of xenobotany research. The soft blue-green glow created an intimate atmosphere, reminiscent of Navara's sacred caves. Aya felt unexpected emotion tightening her throat. It looks like home, she whispered. Chen moved to sit beside her, respecting her space while offering companionship. Tell me about Navara, he said softly. Not the political history. I've read those accounts. Tell me what you miss. In the gentle glow, Aya found herself speaking of things she'd kept locked away for years. The 3 sunrise ceremony her family performed each morning, the taste of fresh guava fruit from her mother's garden, the sound of water chimes during the annual blessing rituals. I was to be named guardian of histories, she revealed, before the regime decided our past threatened their future. Is that why you spoke out? Chen asked, to preserve what they wanted erased. I spoke because silence was complicity, Aya answered, and now I live while many who trusted me died. Chen's hand moved closer to hers without touching. Survivor's guilt is a burden, I understand, he said quietly. During the Centauri plague, I couldn't save everyone. For years, I counted those I lost instead of those I saved. How did you move beyond it? Aya asked. I haven't entirely, Chen admitted, but I learned that honoring their memory means living purposefully, not drowning in regret. Their hands finally touched, fingers intertwining almost imperceptibly in the dim light. Neither acknowledged it explicitly, but neither pulled away. What purpose remains for an exile with no home? Aya whispered, perhaps finding a new one, Chen suggested, his voice equally soft. Not to replace what was lost, but to build something new from its ashes. As the station creaked and groaned against the storm outside, they remained together in companionable silence, the warmth between them having nothing to do with temperature regulation. Thank you, Aya said finally. Not just for the shelter. Chen squeezed her hand gently. Sometimes we all need someone to remind us we're not alone in the universe. In that moment, surrounded by artificial stars and shared stories, Aya felt for the first time since fleeing Navara that she might have found something worth staying for. Cold shadows. The station alarm blared through their moment of connection. Chen rushed to his terminal while Aya tensed, instinctively preparing for threat. Unscheduled vessel approaching, the station AI reported, Identifiers match known Navaran enforcement craft. Aya's blood froze. They've found me, she whispered. The purifiers. How? Chen asked, already gathering emergency supplies. Someone must have recognized me, Aya responded bitterly. The bounty on former council members is substantial. Chen's expression hardened. You can't stay here, he said. They'll search the entire station. There's nowhere to hide, Aya countered. Chen pulled up the station schematics. Yes, there is, he insisted. The old mining tunnels beneath the research wing. They don't appear on official maps. The corridor outside echoed with booted footsteps as the enforcement squad docked. Chen grabbed Aya's hand. We need to move now. They slipped through maintenance passages, evading the search parties. In the darkness of the tunnels, Chen surprised Aya by handing her a small device. Emergency transmitter, he explained. If we're separated, I'll find you. Why risk yourself? Aya demanded. This isn't your fight. Chen met her gaze steadily. Because some things are worth fighting for, he said simply. Some people are worth protecting. Their eyes held for a moment before the sound of pursuit forced them deeper into the tunnels. As they ran, Aya realized with startling clarity that somewhere between frozen isolation and this desperate flight, Chen had become more than just an ally. He had become her reason to survive. Radiant fusion. The confrontation came at the heart of the abandoned mining complex. Cornered by Purifier Commander Sark, Aya stood defiantly beside Chen. The last caravan, Sark sneered. Your execution will complete our cleansing. Our people deserve freedom, Aya responded. Your regime cannot erase our history forever. Brave words from a dead woman. Sark raised his weapon. What happened next unfolded in heartbeats. Chen lunged forward, activating an experimental shield device he'd been developing. Energy cascaded around them as Sark fired, the blast reflecting back and incapacitating the Purifier squad. We need to get to the emergency shuttles, Chen urged, supporting Aya through dimly lit passages. You're injured, she noticed, seeing blood seeping through his shirt. Worth it, Chen smiled weakly. They reached the shuttle bay as station security contained the remaining invaders. Commander Reyna herself awaited them. The Galactic Council has been notified of this illegal incursion, she informed them. The Purifiers have violated multiple treaties. Their actions have given us grounds to grant you official asylum, Aya Kiravan. Aya stood stunned. Asylum? Dr. Chen petitioned for your protected status months ago, Reyna explained. The paperwork was finally approved this morning. Aya turned to Chen, who was receiving medical attention. You knew this would happen? I hoped it wouldn't, he admitted, but I wanted you to have options beyond running. Later, as Chen recovered in the medical bay, Aya sat beside him, their hands intertwined. You risked everything for someone who barely acknowledged your existence, she said softly. Chen smiled. I saw someone worth knowing beyond the walls she built, he replied. Someone I wanted to build a future with if she'd allow it. Aya leaned forward, their foreheads touching in the traditional Navaran gesture of deepest affection. I've been cold for so long, she whispered. Until you showed me what warmth truly means. Stay. Chen said simply, not because you have nowhere else to go, but because here with me you might find home again. As their lips met in a tender kiss, the station lights returned to full power, the storm finally passing. Outside the viewport, stars shone with renewed clarity, much like the path now illuminated before them. Two exiles from different worlds, finding in each other the belonging they'd both sought across the stars.